Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. Let's get straight to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate your support. I'm very humbled by it. So why was CYA more dangerous than the California prison system? Part 2. Let me explain to you guys some stories, man. Some I've told, some I've never told. My observation was way much more dangerous. And not dangerous to the point where you can get killed every day like in the California prison system, but dangerous as a young kid, man. The type of things you see and experience, it was phenomenal. It was crazy. I could literally say Fred C. Nellis created a monster. Okay. It didn't make you reformed. It didn't make you remorseful or regret what you did. It turned you into a straight up killing machine, a monster, a gang banger. I remember there was an officer there. He was more like a counselor. His name was Newman, right? He was a black dude, short black dude, little pudgy motherfucker, looked like George Jefferson with his hair and big old thick bifocals. And we used to all hate him. Everyone there hated him. He was all up in the mix. He was the gang coordinator. He thought he knew it all, right? And he had this class there at Fred C. Nellis that was called I Quit Gangs. And he would constantly try to sneak in this little contract. He wanted everyone to sign it. That meant you quit a gang. And if you did that, you were level automatically and you were going to get shunned, beat up, and bad things were going to happen to you, right? So he used to put those contracts on everyone's desk every day and people would just crumble them up or just throw them off their desk. And there were those that did sign it, right? And they suffered serious repercussions. But I remember hating him, and everyone did, because I felt he put us, especially the Norteños, in predicaments that were real dangerous for us. He felt that, by putting us with Southsiders as much as possible, whether it be in classrooms or in little, I guess, groups or whatever, that we could work out our issues and our problems. He didn't understand that it was much more bigger than just us. We were foot soldiers. We were castaways. We were nothing. We were being utilized to fight a war that didn't have anything to do with us, right? And we were fighting it. Best believe that, right? So I felt as a Norteño at that time, some of the situations he put myself in personally were dangerous, were idiotic, and were kind of comical, because some of the things, hey, let's try to put one Northerner with 10 Southsiders and see if how that works out for him. Okay, I got scars and lumpy ass head wounds to show you it didn't work out, right? But as I got older, I realized that guy had a good heart and good intentions. He was trying to prevent everyone from suffering a life of incarceration, from going to prison, from having to experience that. But we were too young, dumb, and stupid to understand exactly what that man was trying to do. He had a good heart, right? And he had good ideas, just in the long run. In the short run, fuck him, right? So anyways, I wanted to tell you a story about a young guy. His name was Helmsley. Right. And out of all my time and why I seen a lot of stuff, things that'll make you go, right? Things that'll make you wonder, things that'll probably make you fucking throw up. But this kid, I've always felt, there's always been a place in my heart. I'll never forget his name. I'll never forget the first day he rolled up. I'll never forget the day he left. I'll never forget, because at the end of the day, man, I've seen people suffer in unusual situations. I've seen people suffer because of things that they did, but this guy did nothing but a crime on the streets that got him incarcerated just like the rest of us, and he suffered severely for that, right? So I was on a compa, which is a building. It was called Madison, right? And for those that were ever in Nellis or in CYA, it was known as the Madhouse. They called it, and we called it the Madhouse, because that's where the elite went, right? I guess that's where all the knuckleheads from Fred C. Nellis which was located in Whittier, right? It's torn down now, but you were either, if it was like the end of the road. When you went to the Madhouse, your next step was going to be Taft or Nixon, which were the lockup units, right? So Madison was the who's who of who the fuck are these guys? The guys that are battery pack and stab the shit out of you. So I remember when Y was placed there, I was on Kennedy, which is directly across the street from Madison. It's like a street separates it. There's Fred C. Nellis was a city within a city. Okay, there was all these different buildings, and you would go on line movements to the chow hall, to the gym, to the school area. And then the Caja, the box, was located right next door to Kennedy. So they made sure that they put Kennedy, which was a crazy fucking unit, and then the Madhouse, which was the ultimate crazy unit. They made sure that these were located very close to the box, which is at Seg or the hole, right? And so that way, when it popped off, which it always did, they could just pull up in a van, you jump in, and you're there in 1 minute to the hole for however long they give you. And it wasn't very long. A lot of dudes you didn't do a long time in the box, a week, a couple days, right back to the building, right back to the bullshit with the same guy you fought with. There was no separation. He goes to a different compound. You go right back. Fight again, fucker. We got a whole lot of caja for you, right? You fight again, you go back. I've seen dudes do it 3-4 times in the same day until they finally got theirs. They got it off their chest. So I distinctly remember I was in the Madhouse when we first got there. There were several riots, between North and South, and it took a while for things to settle down. It took a while for the Southsiders to realize that administration wasn't going to fucking ship us out. They were going to have to live with us, whether they liked it or not. And they didn't like it. They didn't know why they didn't like it, and we didn't like living with them because there was a potential threat every day. And it seemed like as soon as the compa would get smooth and everybody was just programming and doing their thing, more Southsiders would get kicked out of the Taft unit, or they'd get kicked out of Nixon, which was like basically the shoe there. And it'd start all over again because they came with the mindset that they weren't going to program or function with Northerners. They're not going to roll it up. They're not going to roll us up, right? So it was just riot time again, and their homeboys had to go with them. So it could be a dude that you actually have done time with, fought with them for a while. Hey, you're just like, okay, enough is enough. We did what we had to do. Let's just do our time. And then his homeboy from his neighborhood comes, or someone else with influence, and boom, he's the first one rushing you. Happened every day, right? So sucked. We were there in the Madhouse, and they would bring new guys in. They would just pop in, and everybody would look, because most of the time you were either in the dorm outside or the day room. But it seemed like every time they brought new dudes, we were always in the day room watching TVs, making sopas, just doing our time. And the door would open, and when that door opened, everybody would turn. You'd hear it, and they'd bring new guys in. I'll never forget the day they brought this dude Helmsley. Now, he was from Wasco, the 805 area, right? And he came in, and I seen he was white, and I looked away because he had nothing to do with me. He wasn't my people's. I figured, hey, he's a white guy. He was going to be the only white person on that unit. There wasn't no CO. Excuse me. I just ate. There wasn't no COs. There wasn't no YCs, no GSs, none of that were white. They were all Mexican and black, and there wasn't no white inmates there. He was the only one, right? And he suffered severely for that consequence. He got consequences from just being white, right? It's unfortunate, but it's real. He walked in, and when he walked in, everyone looked at him, and I could see the Southsiders were on him like, okay, because like I've told you in prior videos, when you were a Wood, if you were a white in YA in Nellis, not other fucking institutions, but Nellis, right? You either functioned up under the Southsiders and hand in hand with them and programmed like they did, or you got fucked. There was your options. Okay, when I say fuck, I mean it in the literal sense. So this guy came in, and he was white from first appearance, and okay, cool, young white dude. Back to program. He went down to the dorm, and I seen a group of Southsiders get up and approach him, and I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna smash him. Usually when they go in a group, that means this dude might have fucked up somewhere. They know him. He has a bad case. Something bad's about to happen. There's caca in the air, and it stinks, right? So all these Southerners got up, and there was one in particular who was from Pomona 12th Street Sharkies. I'm not going to say his name because he's a good fucking solid dude, right? But he was leading the pack. And so these guys went, and they went down to the dorm to harass him a little bit and see where he was from. They found out he was from Wasco. They found out that he was, I guess, allegedly claiming to be a Southsider. Now, he had just come from SRCC, the Southern Reception Center, right? Like most Southsiders did. Because you would go to either NRCC if you were from up north, or SRCC if you were down from south. And so he had come from SR, And he had just been on Truman, which was the receiving unit, and now he's going to his regular compa, the GP, right, which is Madison. He got fucked, literally. But this, he got fucked up just coming here or going there, right? And so they all go down, boom. And me and the homies were like, the Northerners were like, fuck, bro. Southsiders are going to get off. They're going to put all the Mexicans on lockdown. That's what they do. It didn't matter if North or South got off. They put us all on lockdown, right? Make us suffer for everyone. So we're like, the homies are like, shit, we might as well get ours. If they get off, let's get off, right? Well, who are we going to get off on? Well, the Southsiders, right? So we're already plotting. It happens that fast. Like, all it took was one guy to come in and everyone fucking get their panties in a bunch, right? And now everyone wants to fight. And so we're looking to see what's going to happen because we're like, fuck it, we ain't going on lockdown for nothing. And I'm not trying to act like we're all hardcore, but that's just the mentality there. To fight, to stab, to punch, to kick, that was normal in YA. That's why it was so dangerous, much more dangerous. We didn't have to ask permission from anyone. There was no, you could fight wherever you felt like it. You can be just like fucking kicking it, watching Soul Train and be like, woo, I'm about to do the hippest fight in America, right? You didn't have to go tell the homies like, hey, I'm gonna get down. You just got down, and everyone got down, and that's what get down, and that's all you heard. Guard, get down. So they go in the back, they're chopping it up with this dude, right? And I could see him from, you're in the day room, there's like a little office, it's a corner. You got to go around the corner to go in the dorm, but there's glass windows, you know, so the officers could observe everything that's going on. And you can see through the glass windows, the homie from Pomona 12th Street's all in his face. Right? He's giving him the fucking South Side fucking rundown, the reglas. And so they all come out with that dude. And he sits in the first row. So the Southerners had the first row, and wait, you had the blacks that had the first row. Southerners had second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. They had a lot of rows, right? We had the back row or the corner area. And so at that time we had the back row, and we had fought for that shit. We needed to fight for ours. And so there's like 10 of us on the compound. So we're deep. For us, that's deep. And there's like 40 Southsiders, 25 blacks, and maybe an Asian or two, right? And so now there's a white guy. He's everybody's white guy. So he comes in and he sits right there with the Southerners, and they give him a couple sopas and everything. I'm thinking, okay, I guess he's a Southside. He don't look like one, though. He didn't have no tattoos. I mean, his appearance is what did him in. He looked like, I don't know, man. He looked like Edward Norton before he played fucking in American History X. He just looked like a regular fucking dude with hair and blonde hair, blue eyes, all that shit, right? So he comes in, sits down. They're cool. The night passes. I'm thinking, it's not our people. Who gives a fuck? And it's shower time. Okay, now this is the very next day. It's shower time, and so the dorm is long this way. There's a little corner. Right here's the office. On the opposite corner is the shower area. And there's like 6 shower heads, and you walk in. You know, you got your chanclas, your towel, you hang your shit right there, bam, you jump in the shower. There's like 5 other dudes showering against the wall too. Hey, they turn the water on, you wet, you soap up, they turn the water back on, you rinse off, you're done. 5 minutes, if that, and then it's just a cycle next, right? But prior to walking into the showers, you got to grab a roll. So you got to roll every time. And in that roll was going to be a towel. It's a towel rolled up, and there's going to be a pair of boxers, a t-shirt, and some socks. That's your roll, right? And you get whatever you got coming, depending upon if you have the hookup in the laundry. Now, Southerners always ran the laundry in the compas I was at. Blacks did too in some compas. Don't get it twisted. But in this compa, though, Southerners had that job sewed up, right? So needless to say, the Northerners wouldn't get the best rolls all the time. But being that I was cool with this dude from Pomona, right? He just liked me. We just hit it off. We're just cool. Okay. Sometimes it just be like that. Enemies or not, we respected each other. He was young. I was young. I was down to get down. He was down to get down. Like, it was cool, right? So he would always give me a crispy roll. And I mean, a crispy roll where the towel was fucking hard as a rock because it was brand new. And nice white t-shirt, good pair of boxers that where the elastic's not all blown out, right? And of course, as Northerners, we had a rule anyways. We all wore our boxers inside out. Don't ask me why, man. I guess we didn't want to wear the same because everyone shares the same laundry, right? It just recycles, it washes. We didn't want to wear the same boxer Southsiders wore, so we turn ours inside out. So like, we're not wearing what they wore. We can't even wear clothes after you. And it was crazy. We're the only group that did that. And so anyways, as I go to get my roll, it's right there. It's obvious. I look in, and lo and behold, what I've never seen again in real life in high definition, right? I get my roll. The homie from Pomona is not in there this particular day. right? So I get a dicked up roll, meaning I get a roll that's raggedy. I get the northern issue, which we used to call it the northern issue. Hey, you got the northern issue. One sock stretched out. Fuck, you don't even stand your leg; it falls off. Boxers with no elastic, they just fall off. You got to tie them. Fucking like fuck this. Just kill a motherfucker, right? It was bad. But when I looked into that laundry room, I seen that white dude pleading for help. There was some unusual, strange activities happening to him in there, and that's all I'll say about that. Okay, in the worst way. It was bad. And I was like, damn, it wasn't even 24 hours, and his heart was getting hit from the back. I was like, oh no. So I just grabbed my roll. I don't see nothing. I seen it, but I'm about to throw up, right? So I go into my shower. I'm showering fast. I'm looking around watching my back, right? Fuck this. Them guys are animals in there. Bad shit was happening to that dude. And I don't know why, right? And so from that point on, after that happened to him, after he was manipulated into that, or he was punked into that, or beat up into that, every day from that point on, man, poor dude. I did not see him one time without a black eye. Busted eardrums, leaking from every orifice, fucking strangulation. I like everything you could think of that could happen to someone. They were putting needles in him in his groin, and bad things were happening to that dude. Very bad, right? And all because, you want to know why? Because he was a young white dude who couldn't defend himself, who said he was a Southerner and he wasn't, right? Or they told him he wasn't. And that was it. And for saying that, he had to suffer the repercussions for that. And man, it was bad. See, now you got to understand also, in the youth authority, there was no protective custody. There's no SNY yards. There's no roll it up because you don't want to be here no more. There's no, okay, I decide I don't want to gangbang no more. There's none of that. Even if you got whacked, you got sliced up, you come back to the same building, right? Usually. Or to another building where the same dudes are there, or even deeper that fucking sliced you. Like, there was no help. There's no mommy, there's no daddy. You're not going to go tell the YCs, which were the counselors, hey, these dudes are beating me up, because they're going to just write it up, and they're going to put those dudes in the hole for a couple of days, bring them out, and they're going to get you again. This time, they're going to find the homie with more inches. It was going to be bad for you, right? And so this guy suffered and suffered and suffered. I had a heart. One thing about me was I had the mentality, I don't give a fuck mentality. I didn't care about what happened to me. I mean, I cared to a certain point. I wasn't going in that laundry room, right? I didn't want shit like that to happen to me, but I was like gangbanging. So my mentality was like, fuck it. If I get stabbed, I get stabbed. I'm gonna get mine too. That was just the way it was, right? But I had a heart. When I see people getting advantage, I've never liked bullies. I've never liked people that take advantage of people with like mental issues, things like that. I hate it, right? And he was kind of slow a little bit, I could see. And so he was definitely getting advantage taken of him. They were kicking this guy in the legs. They would walk by his bunk and just kick him as hard as they can in the shins. He would cry, but he had to hold it in because you can't show weakness, right? And everybody, I mean, he was raccooned up. Everybody knew what was happening to him. People used to throw sopas on his bed, feeling bad for him, like, here, bro, eat so you have energy to get beat up, right? School area, they were taking him in little cuts and just jumping on him for no reason, practicing on him. He was the toy, the practice guy. And it happened for over like a year and a half. And it got to the point where people would get tired of it, like, hey, bro, fuck, leave him alone already. People were voicing their opinion, like, enough is enough, man. And there was no YC, like I said, youth counselor, GS, which were the cops, to tell. They didn't care even if you did. They condoned it. They were like, bro, just don't let me see it. I don't want to write shit up. This guy's legs were so swollen. They were like the size of a normal person's fucking torso. They were black and blue from the toes on up. I used to see when he would go to the shower area, you know, people would have their towels around their waist, and this dude's whole legs were black from purple from the bruises. Anyways, it was dangerous for him, right? So how was he able to overcome that? You know, everyone has their breaking points. They can only take so much. And the thing was the guys who were doing this to him were the Southerners. Okay, it was a couple blacks sprinkled in here and there that would beat on him. Northerners never indulged. It's not because we don't do that type of shit. It's just because he wasn't our people, and there was no reason to indulge in that. We were worried about protecting ourselves at school and fighting and shit. We weren't trying to pick on a white dude, right? Not at all. He wasn't a threat to us, and if you weren't a threat to us, there was no reason to trip. But we weren't gonna back him up either, unfortunately. I wanted to, but the homies were like, fuck him. And so it got so bad that there was a cop there. His name was Joe Jordan. Officer Joe Jordan. I don't know if anyone that was in Nellis remembers him. He was a big old dude, used to play for the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers at some point, right? Older guy. coolest fucking YC there was. He was the father figure for everyone. He was the one that you can go to get an extra tray or, to get a good job. Like he tried to do the most he could, but he could only do so much. And he seen this guy's legs and he told him, hey, I'm going to bring you something tomorrow. Right. And you know what he brought him? Didn't bring him a hug. Didn't bring him to a new building where he wouldn't get advantage to him. He brought him shin guards to protect his legs as much as he could. He'd wear these under your pants. So when they kick you, you know what I mean? You're all right. That's all he could do. That's how crazy it was. It was that dangerous that even the cops didn't want to involve themselves in certain things. Like, hey, let it be what it is. They didn't want to suffer. Southerners, Northerners, blacks, everybody was crazy in there. Cops weren't off limits. It was nuts. So one day we're in the day room. We're watching Soul Train, right? And there was this crip. And remember, the blacks are all in the front row. And this dude, Helmsley, all he did the whole day room was iron Southsiders pants for them. Stacks of clothes and pants. Hey, make sure you iron my shit, fool. A bitch, whoop-de-woo. He got called all kinds of crazy. And so that's what he did, right? And so he's ironing. So this black dude, he's a crip. He's from PJ Watts, right? He was like, I'm not going to say his name, but let's just say that's where he's from. And he was like, hey, little bitch, make sure you, after you're done with the essays pants, make sure you iron mines too, right? And that dude said, I ain't no bitch. Black dude said, what'd you say? And everyone got quiet. Soul Train went, pew. Don Cornelius, shut the fuck up too, right? Even Al Green said, let's stay oh shit, the white boy's crazy, right? Even Al Green shut the fuck up. And we're like, oh, wow, this motherfucker got balls. I knew they stuck needles in them, but whoa, right? And the black dude said, what'd you say? He said, I ain't your bitch. And he goes, man, you a bitch. And he goes, look, man, you're not my people. So whatever happens with my people, you're not my people. The black dude said, shut up before I slap you. He said, the saddest thing I ever heard in my life. He said, go ahead. Everyone else does. I go, damn, that broke my heart right there, man. That dude got up to go slap him and got ironed out. This fool hit him with the iron. The iron was chained to the ironing board, right? But this motherfucker broke it off, boom, with a punch and just got to stinging him with it. He was burning himself with it. It was crazy, right? He had a mental breakdown. Enough was enough. They sent him somewhere, I think, to like a insane asylum or something. We never seen him again. The moral to the stories are this. I seen crazy shit. I seen even crazier than that. I seen guys try to escape out of Fred C. Nellis and try to jump into a residential neighborhood over the razor wire and get their whole shit cut out and just fall out. I seen dudes who the Southerners, they had this little dude. He was from Santa Paula. He was from Santa Paula, right? And he had fucked up. He had ate after a black. And in YA, that was for the Southsiders, that was the ultimate. You don't eat after any other race, any other gang, right? He ate after a black. And it wasn't even ate. The black dude gave him a piece of a sandwich that was wrapped up, but still he ate after a black because the black made the sandwich. He touched it, right? Stupid shit, huh? I'll smoke the dope out your asshole if you're black, but I won't eat after you. So anyways, that was just rules. We had some of the same rules, right? So he would every day in the school, not every day, but a lot of days, he would go in the school area, and these dudes, there was this particular group, they were on Washington, which was a compound. It was mostly like paisas and Southsiders. It was like they had an ESL class there, so they couldn't really speak English that good over there, right? So the Southerners that were there, like English was a second language, and there was a lot of paisas there. They were fucking nuts. They were crazy. They always wanted to get at the Northerners. They wanted to prove themselves, right? But these guys, they would always make the knives. They would find this dude, seek him out in the square area, and test the knives on him. That dude probably got stabbed more times than anyone ever in all lifetime. And you know what? They never did it like try to like kill him, but just enough scrape him, hit him in the arm, in the leg, in the back a little bit, just to see if it worked. Oh yeah, that shit went 5 inches. It works. Man, eventually they had to put him in the what is it called? The infirmary, because that motherfucker started to develop gangrene from the knives. Like it was bad. So I seen things like that. So to me, why it was much more dangerous, because there was no structure. There was reglas amongst your gang, but there was no like politics and there was a lot of YA games being played, right? A lot of bullshit. So there was no one there to help you. There was no one there to turn to. And I'm not saying you have to cry for help or anything. You just have to be a man or a young kid and stand your own ground. But you could be solid in one institution, the most solid homeboy, come over there and fools don't like you and they just do you dirty the whole time there. So to me, it was much more dangerous. It was dangerous because there was nowhere to turn to. There was no help. There was no escape. It just was suffering, man. I got to prison and I thought initially, man, this is going to be a continuance of YA, and it was much different. It was predicated on respect. A lot of dudes were with the business. A lot of dudes I was in YA with. And, you always, looked at the YA babies different. A lot of the OG homies would be like, oh, you're a YA baby. So they would utilize that because those are the dudes that were the hitters. Because YA created monsters. It gave you a sense of determination to win. It also gave you your moral compass was out the window. You gave a fuck about that. And you became desensitized to anything. So the youth authority in California, man, during the 80s and 90s, one of the most dangerous places on earth. And that's just a fact. With that being said, let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. This video is sponsored by Vaudreuil Liquors in Turlock, California. If you're ever in the Turlock area, pull up to the Vaudreuil and get you something cold to drink. Also by Sticks and Stones Yard Service in Tucson, Arizona. If you live in the Tucson area or the surrounding areas, make sure you Google Sticks and Stone Yard Service if you need an estimate on some yard work. This is the gun. Bang, bang.